Good afternoon, everyone. Happy holidays, party people. My name is Drew Dickinson. You can call me Drewski, and this is the 3D. 3D. And the main topic, as always, revolves around my beloved Manchester United. All right, now, the last time we saw the Reds, just about 8 days ago, and well, less than that, and it was a 2-1 defeat at the hands of Aston Villa, who are now sitting third place in the league, just 3 points off Arsenal, who are at the top of the league with 38 points. So, all right, guys, I've got a few takeaways from the loss to Aston Villa on Sunday. One being United were missing Casemiro due to yellow card accumulation. Harry Maguire, Matthias de Ligt still not fully fit and ready to go. Mazraoui, Ahmad, and Mbumo all away for African Cup of Nation duties. That's Ivory Coast. Ahmad is out with Ivory Coast. Mbumo is over with Cameroon. And Mazraoui, of course, representing Morocco. But for me, the big one, and you've heard me talk about him all season long, Kobbie Mainoo, out due to a calf injury that he picked up in training the day before United played Villa. So a week ago tomorrow, excuse me, a week ago Saturday, he picks, yeah, tomorrow. Come on, you get it right. A week ago tomorrow, which will be Saturday, he picked up the injury before while training. And what's so gut wrenching about this, as you know, I'll get into it. He, with the Casemiro yellow card accumulation, Kobbie was set to start. Let's be honest, he was set to start, set to show Ruben once again. Remember that 4-4 draw at Bournemouth? Kobbie came on and really settled things down. It was such a sight to see. Not just for fans, but I assure for Ruben, like, okay, this kid's got it. I know he does. And he said before, Kobbie's got to fight for his position. Ruben doesn't care about the shirt that his brother wore, free Kobbie Mainoo, whatever. Ruben said Kobbie didn't wear the shirt. He's not taking it out on Kobbie. But with that being said, he wasn't in. And, Bruno got the start, I believe, next to Manuel Ugarte. And we'll get into Bruno here in just a moment. But second for me is the absence of, like I mentioned before, Matthias de Ligt and or Harry Maguire, which are just causing major issues in the central part of the defense. And I'm certainly not shifting blame, but Lenioro, Aiden, Heaven, who are no doubt the future here at Manchester United. Let me make that perfectly loud and perfectly clear. But they are still very young and raw. And at moments like these, with the lack of leadership in the back and being put in positions that, you shouldn't be in. And honestly, I can talk for Ruben Amorim. He doesn't want to put them in, especially both of them at the same time. And like I said, it's showing. I mean, the ease of which Morgan Rogers was able to get into the box and onto his right foot was just shocking. Ruben Amorim did say, though, that both Maguire and de Ligt are very close to returning to action, which, like I said, could help the two youngsters a lot in the back. And third, and I mentioned before, we'll talk about Bruno, the most frustrating part of the loss to Aston Villa was the actual loss of Bruno Fernandes, who ended up picking up a hamstring injury in the first half. I think you could see him pull up with about 10, 15 minutes to go in the first half, but he stuck it out just like a captain does. You could see he was running in pain, and it was obvious that the second half wasn't going to be his. Diagnosis not good. It's a soft tissue, so he'll be out for a while. Kobbie Mainoo, the calf injury, Ruben did say that Kobbie will be back before Bruno. Kobbie is not a long-term injury whatsoever, which is really, really good news. But on a rare positive note, back towards the Aston Villa game, Lisandro Martinez subbed on at halftime and played that defensive midfielder role for United. And guys, quite frankly, he was brilliant. It was so simple, so easy, and quite frankly, again, very, 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 very refreshing. But the only thing about that, and the only thing about Martinez is with with Maguire and Delict out, even with them in, we need Lissandro in the back. So quite the conundrum you got yourself in if you're Ruben Amorim. Where do you play Martinez with with Bruno definitely out, Mainu out? So again, guys, if you're keeping up, that's Bruno Fernandez, Kobe Mainu, Harry Maguire, Matthias Delict, Ahmad, Nus Mazraoui, and Brian Mbumo all out for Manchester United as they head back to Old Trafford on Boxing Day tomorrow. Even with Bruno, Casemiro, Manu all in the lineup, we've seen this all season long. Hell, longer than that. The midfield has struggled immensely. Like I said, for how long now? A decade or more. And you saw just recent news. United were all in for a January move for Bournemouth winger Anton Semenyo. And that was right off the lips of Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein. But again, right off the lips of those two gentlemen was said that Semenyo has rejected United for Manchester City. But I digress 115 times. Anyways, now back to United. As I mentioned before, Boxing Day, the only match of the day tomorrow, we will see seventh place Manchester United welcome 11th place Newcastle United to Old Trafford. 3 p.m. kickoff Eastern Standard Time, Friday night football, if you will, baby. With a win, with a win tomorrow, United could once again slide themselves into fourth place. Now, it could be just for the time being. I feel like we have said this sentence, at least 4 or 5 times in the last month alone. United win today, slide into second. United win today, slide up into third. United win today, slide up into fourth. And of course, United win none of those games, but losing or, worse, or drawing or even worse, losing those games. Now, for the Magpies, they will come into Friday's game with just guys. Look, they've only lost one game in their last seven in all competitions. Last loss was on December 14th away to Sunderland. It was just a 1-0 defeat. And remember, Sunderland, top five team, so no slouch themselves this season, but United beat them already. Anyways, Eddie Howe's men, last time we saw them, they squandered a 2-0 lead on the 20th of December at St. James's Park at the hands, or feet, mind you, of Chelsea. And with that being said, I really, really do expect both teams, Manchester United and Newcastle, to come into tomorrow afternoon's matchup fired up and ready to go. Boxing Day, big Boxing Day matches, big, big tradition, big honor to play on said day. That's why, I mentioned United and Newcastle being the only matchup tomorrow on Boxing Day, which is unfortunate, but kind of cool that you got that nod. Now, we mentioned the depleted and underperforming midfield for Manchester United, and that's where I expect Newcastle to, that's where they will plan. Like, Newcastle's going to start their attack right there in the midfield, whether it's Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes. They're going to pull the strings in the middle and look to feed players like Anthony Gordon or Anthony Elanga off the bench. Anthony Gordon, a England international, mind you, and Yohan Wisse, the Dominican Republic. Oh boy, the DR Congo international came over from Brentford last season where he scored 20 goals, but he's had an injury-ridden season. He seemed to be back in the fold just a few games ago. He came off the bench and scored, within his first 10 minutes of the season. So Yohan Wisse is a player that Eddie Howe, is excited to have finally. We saw the big drama over the summer with Alexander Isak, and it's just a shame what's happened because now we see, just a sidebar here, Isak is, looks to be out for a while with that broken leg. But of course, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Yohan Wisse, back and ready to go. Now, again, if that's the case for United, it's going to spell bad news for that midfield and the young defense. So let's hope for Newcastle's case, we say can come in and stay healthy and, hopefully for Eddie Howe's sake, bring them back into the top four and let them hold on to that European football spot. Right now, they're currently playing in the Europa League, if I do remember correctly. Now, as far as the Red Devils are concerned, Ruben Amorim has quite the task ahead regarding the choosing of his proper starting 11. Once again, Casemiro will be back in the fold after missing the last game with that yellow card accumulation. So I can very well see a Casemiro Mason Mount pivot with Mount kind of playing in that number 8 Bruno Fernandes role. Maybe Joshua Zirkzee playing as the left-sided number 10. Benjamin Šeško through the middle. And of course, Cunha off the right side, or you could flip-flop Zirkzee and Cunha. But I feel that Zirkzee is his best when he can drop back on that left side of the front line and kind of pull some strings from there. And we noticed that Ruben played Zirkzee through the middle as a point man at one point earlier in the month. I mean, it just didn't work. In the second half, he allowed Zirkzee to drop back, receive the ball in the midfield turn, and work his magic like he is so good at doing. Now, back three with Liche back. I think it's time to give him the start. Maybe not 90 minutes, maybe 75, 80. But I would expect, if Ruben doesn't change the formation, I expect the back three, Lisandro Martinez, Luke Shaw, Aiden Heaven, or Lenny Euro, with Diogo Dallo and Patrick Dorgu as the wingbacks. And of course, Lemons will start in goal. That's my prediction for the United starting 11. Okay, look, when you look at this game on paper, it just screams 1-1, 2-2 draw. So that's going to be my scoring prediction. Obviously, Emerim is going to be forced to make some tweaks, but a lot of these players, they've had plenty of minutes this season. So I'm not looking for any excuses. But for me, I just think with the AFCON lads being gone, no Bruno, no ManU, I struggle to find where and how United are going to create chances. I'm going to be watching, me personally, I'm going to be watching the likes of Benjamin Šeško a lot. He's got to start showing a little bit more. Remember, the big price tag coming to United means bigger expectations, especially while wearing that United shirt. Okay, guys, look, before I get out of here, quick reminder, the January transfer window open in a week. We know the likes of Wharton, Anderson, Baliba are all feasible, just not next month. I would expect United to go for one of those three players in the summer. January move for those players probably just going to be outpriced. We just saw Anton Semenyo reject United for City. So the upper management unit for United may have to work some magic. Ruben Neves coming back to the Premier League from Saudi League. Conor Gallagher coming over loan obligation to buy from Atletico Madrid. We'll just have to wait and find out. I'll definitely keep everyone updated regarding transfer news when there is any, but I speak for all of us United fans. Ineos, Sir Jim, go get Emerim, a freaking defensive midfielder with some legs. Thank you guys so much for joining me on Boxing Day. Hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas and a happy holidays. Be sure to go follow Soccer Down Here on all forms of social media at Soccer Down Here. And of course, myself, Drew Dickinson at Drewski Jr. That's DREWSKIJR18. So for me, Drew Dickinson, and Soccer Down Here, I just have one question left. And that's, why have a Merry Christmas when you can have a no holds barred Christmas?